Hi, my name is Rebecca and welcome to Yarn and Pajamas. Today is another episode of Hooked on Murder. And Hooked on Murder is just a crochet and chat where I pick a project to crochet on and I tell you a story of a true crime murder that I have researched. So grab yourself something to work on. I'm working on my hashtag Friendmas blanket that I never did finish from when me and Melody at Melody's Cozy Crochet done a swap for Christmas. So grab yourself something to drink and something to work on, and we are going to travel down to Phoenix City, Alabama, and go all the way back to 2007, and we are going to talk about the murder of Stephanie Shae Graham. So on the day of July the 5th, 2007, a truck driver called and reported that he had found a body on a dirt road. So the police arrive and they find the body of a young female laying in the road off to the side of the road, and she had been shot multiple times. So they're processing the scene and they notice a few things. They notice that her panties are down around her ankles. And then their, initial thoughts are that that's what motivated this crime. And they start, trying to figure out who this young lady is, because there's no identification on her body. She has no cell phone, she has no purse, no wallet, no ID. As they're processing the scene, they find a wet spot near the body, and they theorize that it could be condensation from a vehicle as it's left idling from like the AC system or something. So the coroner shows up and he comes and he, takes the body, and he is able to actually identify her through her fingerprints, and he identifies her as Stephanie Shae Graham. So the detectives learn that Stephanie, well, we're going to call her Shae because that's what she went by, that Shae had been reported missing by her family earlier that day. So the police detectives go out to the Graham house, and Phoenix City is a small town. So the police detective that's working the case knew the whole family. They were like prominent citizens in the town. Mr. Graham, Kevin Graham, owned a construction business, and he was well known throughout the town. And Lisa, the detective, they went to school together all through their whole school career. So the detectives had to break the news to Lisa, the mother, and Kevin Sr., the father, and also Kevin Jr., the brother, that Shae's body had been found. And everyone was they were distraught. So the police officers ask if there's anybody that they would think that would hurt Shae. And the first person that comes to their mind is Larry, also known as Bubba, who used to be Shae's boyfriend. And the reason that they broke up was he was violent towards Shae, and there had been some domestic abuse. So the police were real curious to track down Bubba to see what he had to say. Well, they find Bubba, and he is in the jail, the county jail. So they go and talk to him to see if he knows anything, like what's going on with her, like how last time he talked to her. So he's talking to the detectives, and the detectives don't tell him that Shae has passed. They are just questioning him. And he says he actually called her phone to talk to her on the night that she was murdered. He says that Shae didn't answer the phone, that it was her best friend Amy who answered the phone. And Amy said that they were all hanging out with Shae's new boyfriend, Glenn. So Larry said that he was, upset about this because he still had feelings for her. But he also discloses to the detectives that Shae has a court appearance the next day over a shooting. So when the police look into it, Shae was arrested for a shooting incident that happened in, I think, Columbus, Alabama, where she was in the car with some of her friends and someone discharged a firearm. So the police were contacted and they came out and they arrested everyone in the car. So he tells the police that on July the 6th, she was supposed to have a court appearance over that shooting. So then the police are starting to think that maybe it has something to do with the shooting as to why she's been murdered. So they're still investigating and they bring Amy down to the police station and they start to interrogate Amy. Amy discloses that her and Glenn had dropped Shae off at a gas station because she said that she needed to meet someone. So when the detectives asked who she was meeting, they didn't know. So at the same time, they're also questioning Glenn, and his and Amy's story is like spot on, the same. But the detectives find it hard to believe that Amy, who is Shae's best friend since high school, cannot tell them any information, and they find it to be like super shady. Well, Amy tells them that she wasn't told by Shae who they were meeting, but that she knew the man that Shae got into his vehicle over. So when the police asked like who it was, she said Kenny. So they asked for more information about Kenny, and she gives them a description, and she's like, you know, he works for Shae's dad, Kevin. So the police start looking into it, and his name is Kenneth Walton, and he is an employee of Kevin Graham's at his construction site, and really he's known the family for like a really long time. They do some background, and turns out Kenneth is like referred to as Uncle Kenny by Kevin Jr. and Shae. He's been with them, the family, for a really long time. He has been like treated as part of the family. The cops are looking for Kenny, and they bring him in and they're talking to him, and he admits that he was with Shae that night, and that when he didn't have the information that Shae wanted, that Shae got out of his truck and left, and he left, and he never seen her again. The cops go and pull the CCTV footage from the service station, and they see that that's not accurate information. They see that Shae did get in Kenny's truck, and that Kenny and Shae pulled out of the service station and left. So armed with this knowledge, the detectives like go hard at Kenny, and he finally cracks and is like, yes. He said that Shae wanted him to find her a car, that she was real nervous about the upcoming court appearance, and that she just wanted to leave. Now this was a problem because to get Shae out of jail, her dad, Kevin, paid her bond, which was $100,000. So if Shae were to skip out, then her family is going to lose that $100,000. But that's what she's wanting to do. She's wanting to leave, and she's asked Kenny for help for a car so that she can just leave. So Kenny tells Shae that yes, he's found somebody with a car, and they are driving off to go and get the car, and they are supposed to meet the person down on the dirt road. So as they're driving, Shae's like, hey, I need to use the bathroom. So they pull off onto the side of the road. Shae gets out of the truck to use the restroom. She pulls her panties down, and while she's doing her business, Kenny reaches over and shoots her through the door like that. And then he gets out of the truck and goes over and shoots her a couple more times to make sure that she's dead, and then drives off and leaves her. Kenny is a little emotional when he's telling the police this, because he said that he thought of Shae as a sister, that he loved her, and that, you know, he can't believe that he done it. Then he proceeds to tell the police, like, I have told you guys this much, I'm just going to tell you the rest of it. He says that Lisa Graham, Shae's mother, Shae's biological blood mother, asked him to kill Shae as a favor to her. And that just blew the cops' minds. So they go and they question Kevin about Kenny, and he says that Kenny had destroyed some equipment and had gotten fired from the construction business. So the police are thinking that maybe that is why he killed Shae, as an act of revenge. Then Kenny goes into more detail about what happened. He says that Lisa was worried about Shae wanting to skip out on the court appearance. That Shae had actually said to Lisa that she was going to try to leave so that she didn't have to go to this court and possibly be in bigger trouble. So Lisa was absolutely PO'd that her daughter was going to do this. And so she goes and asks Kenny to kill her so that they're not out the $100,000 for the bond. And Kenny gives further information that the gun that he used actually belonged to Lisa. The police ask him where the gun is now, and he's like, well, I gave it back to her. The cops go to the house, the Graham house, and questioning Dad Kevin. It's like, hey, are all of your guns here? Are they all accounted for? Well, there was only one gun unaccounted for, and it was Lisa's 9mm, which is what Kevin said he used to take the life of Shae. The police asked Kevin, like, hey, where do you think this gun could possibly be? And he's like, oh, well, maybe it's at her papa's house. So the police get a search warrant for papa's house, and sure enough, they find the gun. So they have it forensically tested. The ballistics, the bullets match. There's actual DNA evidence of Shae on the gun. So now the police tell Kevin, they're like, hey, you know, this is what Lisa did. At first, Kevin is like in disbelief. Like, no, there's no way that my wife that I met in high school, we were high school sweethearts, there's no way that my wife would ever do this to our child, our firstborn child, our only daughter. So he was at first standing beside Lisa, because Lisa said that she never wanted Shae to be killed. She said that Kenny took everything she was saying out of context, and he done something that she never asked him to do. During the period between her arrest and the trial, there was a neighbor who came forward who stated that Lisa had tried to hire him to also kill Shae. And it all stemmed from the $100,000 bond that the family would stand to lose, because it would have put them like in dire straits had they lost that bond. And Lisa just did not want to have to deal with that, so she was trying to find somebody to take care of her problem. Yeah. So Kenny was sentenced. He pled guilty. I believe he Oh, I didn't write down what. Oh, he was sentenced to life in prison. And like 3 years after that, Lisa went on trial because she's maintained her innocence, even though all of the evidence was there for her. She went on trial, and the jury found her guilty, and they gave her the death penalty in Alabama. So she is one of the women on death row in Alabama. What do you guys think about today's story? It's like, I cannot imagine a mother wanting to murder her young daughter over $100,000. I mean, yeah, it's wrong that Shae is wanting to leave and skip out and cause the family, you know, this hardship. Yeah, it's wrong. She's a kid. It's like, if you know that she's planning on doing this, why not like talk to her and make her see like how it's going to ruin the family. I mean, she was a very smart girl. She graduated high school at 16. She was going to college to be an accountant, to work at the family business. I really do think that she could have been reasoned with, because she probably wouldn't have been in that much trouble anyways. She definitely did not need to lose her life over this. I mean, it was, I'm not trying to say that $100,000 ain't a lot of money, because we all know that it is. But compared to your child's life or just a random person's life, yeah, it's not that much money. It's not enough to kill somebody over. And I really do feel like she could have persuaded her, especially bring the dad in on it. The dad, Kevin, and Shae were very, very close. So I think that he could have like talked to her and reasoned with her, and everything would have been fine. And plus, it doesn't seem like she was going to be able to leave, because I mean, it's the night before her court appearance, and she still doesn't have a getaway plan. Like, she's still just out hanging out with her boyfriend and her friends, like riding around, cruising around. So it doesn't seem to me like she was like really trying all that hard to make a getaway, because I mean, the night of, and you still ain't got nothing. You have no money, no nothing. And she let her friend Amy borrow her cell phone for the evening. So it's not like she even had like her communication device, which she probably wouldn't have wanted anyways, because they can trace that stuff nowadays. But still, I don't think that she was even serious about leaving. I think that she probably expressed it because she was scared about like what could potentially happen to her at the court appearance. But like I said, the mother did not need to go to such extremes. And I can't believe that Kenny, who had been around the family since the time that she was so tiny, that, I mean, these kids called him uncle, that he would do this. It's like, what kind of power did Lisa have over him to make him like do that? Like, it doesn't even make any sense to me. I don't really get it. This was very, very senseless. Did not need to be. So what are your guys' thoughts about tonight's little murder that we talked about? Let me know in the comments below. And give me a thumbs up if you guys want to hear some more murder stories on here with a little bit of crochet going on at the same time. I got a good amount of this pink yarn put in during the time that we were talking. I'm hoping to get this blanket finished, because at Christmas I really want to hang it on that new shelf that I got and display it, because it is beautiful, I think. Okay guys, I am going to let you go for now, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye.